Hey everybody, this is Orion saying with the Detroit Free Press here with Reiner Sabin. Our usual spot has been taken, so we're kneeling in the middle of a hallway. Apologies if it looks kind of weird. Let's get to it. Breaking down Michigan's 10-3 win over Iowa today. Dominating defensive performance by Michigan. They had 8 sacks, 13 tackles for loss, 6 quarterback hurries. The offense is very much still a work in progress at this point.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, the offense is, didn't really have any momentum after the first quarter. Midway through the first quarter, you thought that they might get off the ground with the Nico Collins 51-yard catch, but then it just kind of they retreated into a shell after that. 10 straight possessions that went nowhere, didn't produce any points, and really had to have the defense bail them out. So it was kind of a mixed performance.
Yeah, it was weird because I thought Michigan wins the toss. They like to receive. They get the ball, and it looked like those first 2 plays that they were moving Iowa up front. They had 2 runs for 14 yards. That was followed by 3 incompletions and then a punt. But I thought early on it looked like Michigan might be able to put together something on offense.
Sure.
And then it all went away after that third drive.
Right.
They didn't really have any success again on offense until later in the fourth quarter.
Sure.
Michigan had a long drive that ended at Iowa's 16-yard line, and then he missed a field goal.
Right.
During that drive, I thought Shea Patterson played better. At one point, he had 3 straight completions for 40 yards. But there's that stretch in between the first touchdown and then that final fourth quarter drive where just like the offense was just missing.
Sure.
And they also didn't score on that final drive.
Yeah. I mean, they had 5 drives that were 3 plays or fewer. You can't have that, especially if you're trying to build any kind of momentum and capitalize on what you did well against Rutgers, which is they did a lot of things well in that game, and it just didn't seem to translate against Iowa.
The defense still played remarkably well. Jim Harbaugh said after the game that it was a defensive masterpiece. We can start up front. I thought defensive line played really well. Kwity Paye had 2.5 sacks.
Sure.
Aiden Hutchinson, Michael Dana played really well too. And then the interior of the line held up against the run, which is the big difference today. Was Michigan stopped the run game,
right? Whereas
they didn't really do so against Wisconsin, which is the best opponent they played before today.
Yeah, it was a very encouraging performance. I mean, they got constant penetration into the backfield, really pushed Nate Stanley off his mark, which led to 3 interceptions. And Iowa came in obviously having committed only 1 turnover, which they were only one of 2 teams in the entire football bowl subdivision to have only committed 1 turnover to this point. And so it was a really incredible defensive performance by Michigan, and you can really make the case that Don Brown's unit has made marked progress, very good improvement since the Wisconsin game, and is now far ahead of where Michigan's offense is.
I thought they adjusted too as the game went on. Iowa had some success using that mesh concept that we've talked about a lot, and other teams have used a lot against Michigan. I thought Michigan used more zone coverages. They kind of knocked Iowa from using that later in the game, and then they also used some zone blitzes. I thought they got to the quarterback. It was pretty effective. A very good game plan by Don Brown, and very well executed by the defense. I think there's a difference too in the speed. Cam McGrone at middle linebacker he just looks different as a blitzer. I don't think Michigan had someone who could blitz like him before.
Sure.
Dax Hill made a couple big plays today. I think he had a pass breakup on one of those crossing routes across the middle. And that's where speed can translate. If you're playing man-to-man coverage and a guy runs a shallow crossing route across the middle, Dax Hill is fast enough to stay with that guy. So I mean, they're using him on third downs. They're using him as a safety, nickelback. I think his role should increase based on the way he's played. He played really well again today. Same goes for McGrone. McGrone is making a case to become the starting middle linebacker, I think, even once Josh Ross returns.
Right. And, I just think that overall, I mean, the soundness of the defense, I mean, they faced considerable pressure to have to continue coming back out there and make stops, and they did. And, in that kind of sense, I mean, they know that going forward they can hold up in a close game, and that's got to be a source of encouragement.
So, sum it up, major step forward for the defense. The offense sort of treading water at this point. I think Michigan needs to find more answers there. The schedule is only getting harder. They have they have Penn State in 2 weeks, and then Notre Dame the week after that.
Right.
It's only going to get more difficult as it goes now. So they need to find more answers, more points in offense. And then we'll see if they can do that. I think that will determine which direction their season goes.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously those 2 games are really going to determine the outcome of their season. And it'll be interesting to see if the offense can pick it up in the next couple of weeks, and obviously the defense can hold strong in that period as well.
Mm-hmm. As always, we'll have more coverage on our website, Detroit Free Press. I'm Orion saying, this is Reiner, and thanks for following along.